Mr. Markell, it is your turn to pose a question to the other two candidates.
Nothing has been a bigger issue in my visits to schools, in one of the questions today, certainly than the problems caused by high-stakes testing in Delaware. We have spent an incredible amount of money on an accountability system that, as I mentioned earlier, benefits the test makers rather than the test takers. And I want to know how you would grade the last 8 years in terms of the administration's record on accountability and dealing with the Delaware student testing programs.
Mr. Carney, 90 seconds.
Well, as I said earlier in this debate, as governor, I would replace the DSTP system. And I mentioned a meeting that I attended a year ago in the Senate caucus room where Nancy Dorey presented a new approach to testing the NWEA, the pilot program, which has existed in many of your schools in our state. I was convinced at that meeting that that was the right way to go for the future. And we actually had a mechanism that provided formative assessments so that we could meet the requirements of No Child Left Behind. And so as governor, I would make sure that we implement that system, which helps all the teachers like yourselves to address the specific needs of their students, testing them at the beginning of the year, giving them opportunities to take the test time and again if they don't make it the first time, allowing you the opportunity to see diagnostically the needs of individual students so you can help them progress as the year goes on. That's the best way to have a test that enables you to do your jobs teaching children in our classrooms every single day. And so I will make sure that we change that. My opponent has been state treasurer for 10 years, and I didn't hear him talking about the DSTP until this last year, the election year. And so we need to really kind of set the groundwork here for what has happened in the past and where we need to go in the future. I would change the DSTP because we need to do it so that you can address the needs of your students.
Mr. Protack, 90 seconds.
Yeah. I wasn't here when it was implemented, but I will say this. It was poorly implemented with good intentions. And I think the administration has been somewhat slow to react to how to change it. Again, in my life, you know, we make decisions at 8 miles a minute. I always know where I'm at, where I'm going, and how I'm going to get there. And the longer you let options go by, usually the poorer choice you make in the end. So I think we should have changed this thing a long time ago based on your input. Just common sense. And again, with my own experiences, there's a much better way to do this. So I would give, if we were giving out grades, I would give a C-.
Mr. Carney, 30 seconds.
Mayor, Mr. Carney.
Sorry. Okay. We have a 30-second rejoiner opportunity. I'm sorry, 60-second rejoiner opportunity.
I'll take 30.
Wonderful.
When I was the chairman of the board of the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League a few years ago, we actually took on the issue of education, the achievement gap specifically, as a passion. And we spoke out. We worked very cooperatively with a number of groups, including Nancy Dorey, DSEA, and others, on then talking about the need for replacing the Delaware student testing program. It's one thing to say, here's what we're going to do in the future, but the real question is, where have we been? Where have you been? And so specifically, what is the record? The real question is not where we're going in the future. We've all had a chance to talk about that. But what is the record? What's been the record of this administration over the last 8 years in dealing with the DSTP and all the effects that it's had?
Mr. Carney?
I stand by my record working with individuals in this room and across our state in helping to improve our schools. I've done more as lieutenant governor, I think, than any lieutenant governor in our history to work on education in our state. Working on physical education and physical activity, I've been involved and visited probably 40 schools from Selbyville to Claymont. Working on my Models of Excellence in Education program, which is geared specifically to identify best practices and help schools, help teachers in schools be successful.
Mr. Protack.
I think I've